There you go.
Heinefeld.
Okay, thank you. We have Dee and Jerry. We've got Dr. Jan Roberto on. We've got Molly, Jill Ellis, Karen Coate, Becca, Barbara, Sharon, Elizabeth Conlon, and Lisa Hale, Twana, Ingrid, and let's see, Michelle, Lori Goodhart, Kim Rocchetti, a few people by phone. Ingrid jumped on. We got a full house here.
All right.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and get started. You all can't see my face, but that's okay. I'm going to pop off anyway. Welcome to our team call. We're in for a huge treat with Dr. Jan Roberto. She's I would consider a very good friend of mine at this point. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to introduce Dr. Jan, and then I'm going to bounce off and gift her team with some of my information. And then Sue Benefield, Qualifying National Marketing Director, is going to call. So, we have some background noise. We might want to mute out, please, if you don't mind, everybody. Okay, so Dr. Jan Roberto, thank you so much for being here. She is a medical doctor who's been practicing family medicine in Springfield, Ohio for the past 29 years. She works with her husband, Mark. He's also a physician, and 5 other physicians, and serves as part owner and managing partner of the Springfield Center for Family Medicine, where they have comprehensive care for over 10,000 patients. I mean, she touches a lot of lives. She graduated from Wright State University School of Medicine and is board certified in family medicine and an active member of the medical staff at Springfield Regional Medical Center. She's passionate about this message of staying healthy by choosing a lifestyle that promotes wellness and longevity, and she's been doing this for 14 years. I can just tell you on a personal note that we met as brand new national marketing directors in the mid-2000s. I learned to appreciate her gifting and sharing this community as she travels around the country as Prevention Plus lecturer, but also she served us as a community and family really well at boot camps. And I had the privilege a couple years ago to be a speaker with her at one of the boot camps, and we got to stay in the same condo and really talk about our lives and our family and our kids and her granddaughter. And she's just one of my favorite people in this business, and it's one of the reasons that I am so proud to be a part of this community. We have amazingly smart physicians and gifted medical people that are giving of their time and energy, going out there and making a difference for this message of vitality. I also want to mention this. She rocked it on the stage, the main stage of conference several years ago, doing her heart health talk. I don't know if you all remember her in that beautiful purple coat, but that turned into one of our CDs and DVDs. That was one of my favorites to pass out to really share our message. So Dr. Jan, thank you for sharing tonight on the Omegas, and I'm going to head over to your call.
Thank you so much. So I don't know if I should make this speaker view. How's that? Okay, can you see me okay or hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you fine, Dr. Jan.
Okay, so there you are, Sue. So is that Sue Benefield? Okay, good. All right, so what I want to do, you guys, is sort of treat you as if you were my team. And, you know, we've had conversations about the Omega over the last 6 months or so. And certainly it's becoming much more commonly understood, commonly known. But I really think what I want to do, I mean, I have information, probably you know as much as I do in terms of what the company is sharing. But what I want to do is just sort of fill in a few blanks that, a few common things that keep coming at me, and to encourage you with maybe some verbiage that might help you feel more comfortable. And then really, if I can do that in 15 minutes, I would love to open it up for questions. I feel like this is a safe environment. You can type out under chat, and I can just go over there and take a quick peek and kind of look at your questions as they're coming through and maybe weave those in. So I don't know really and truly where the field is this minute with the omegas, how it's any different than it was before conference, except for conference continued to what I call put a bow around the whole blend, the whole concept. But they did a really good job with educating everybody. But I think that personally for me, I've had to do a little bit more reading and trying to simplify language, more so than I ever thought I would, because, fruits and vegetables are just so easy, and our message is so proven. It's 20 years old, 25 years old of what we say and do about the phytonutrients and the synergy, and people don't eat enough, so we're going to fill in the gap. Well, it's really no different than that with the omegas. The problem with the omegas is that they're just not as trendy as fruits and vegetables at this point in time. But that doesn't mean they're not important. And what we do know is that it is an area that we have to consume, because the body doesn't make oils, doesn't make the essential oils, but they are very needed for health. And we also know, oh, what is that? That's interesting. Okay, we also know that that we have to, ingest it. And, food is the best way. And, the only thing we've had up till now is fish oil, and the idea that some people that were vegetarian did not appreciate or did not want to ingest fish oil. And in fact, it was hard to consume because they were large and they were stinky and you would burp them. But some people just did it. How many of you on the phone really ingested fish oil? I certainly did not. I said, I'll take my chances. I'll do chia, flaxseed, walnuts, and I know it takes a while to convert. So I guess that's sort of our beginning point, is that we know that the omegas, omega-3s in particular, because that's what the research has been done on, have been proven over the years to have essentially positive effects on our body, brain health, heart health, skin, joints, and eyes. That's sort of the 5 organ systems that we were kind of preempted, at the beginning of this launch. And by doing so, we then, we're able to say, what omegas do you take? Do you take an omega? Do you know they're important? Well, we have something totally different. And so how is what we have different? Well, obviously it's a blend. So people don't understand 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that the important thing is that we're bypassing the middle fish. We're bypassing the carrier of the omega-3, which is from the algae. The algae is where the real source of the omegas are. Now that we're able to do that, people are stuck on fish oil, right? And so they don't quite understand. I've actually had a rep whose physician was arguing with her because the research says fish oil and the research says 2 grams, okay? So I sensed that frustration, and I was a little frustrated myself until I started to think about where we are right now. We are at the very beginning, like they were with Juice Plus 24 years ago. It's a novel concept to obtain omega blend, omega oils from sources other than fish. Fish was the major option. Algae and quail oil were other sources, but they're very expensive. And so, if you're a vegetarian, you would pay top dollar to get it from algae or quail oil. But for the most part, fish was the only source, okay? And so now we have something different. And so we're at a point where nobody can argue. People argue or have an opinion, but they don't understand why, because this is so new and so revolutionary. So what I want to empower people with is that, number 1, know the facts. Know the fact that our omegas are coming from plant oils. They come from seeds. The seeds are pressed and the oil comes out, unless it's the algae where it is minimally processed or extracted. and the sea buckthorn, I think, is minimally processed and extracted, but the other oils are pressed and cold pressed, and the oils are obtained. And so what we have is this blend of the 5 oils, okay? 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. The majority of the research out there is done on 3. So let's talk about 3 real quickly, since that's what everybody knows and everybody gets a little confused on, and even myself. And so I don't really want to tell you way too much, except for just to give you a foundation, because we're building upon something that's already been proven to be good. Okay, we already know omega-3s are good. We already know the positive benefits. And we also know that our sad American diet gives us way too many 6s. That's another thing that's come up a few times. People are like, oh my gosh, 6s are bad. 6s are in the omega blend. No, 6s are essential. We need omega-6s, okay? We just don't need it from our standard American diet, where we're getting it from, lot-fed beef and, other sources that are not from plants. So when you get your omega-6 from a plant and you're not getting too much of it, you need that ratio. You don't need 20 times of omega-6. You only need 3 times to 1 of a 6 to omega-3. So we get way enough, generally speaking, but we don't get enough of the healthy. So here we have a little bit of healthy 6 along for the ride. And I heard at conference they could have taken the 6 out, but it would have interfered with our process. So there's a little bit of 6 in there, but it's healthy 6. It's from plants. So no worries about 6, okay? But 3 is the majority of what research has been done on. But it's not the mega dose like what we're used to seeing recommended, 2 and 3 grams. Now, why is that? If I think about it, and this is not from the company, this makes sense to me, and I've shared it with a few other doctors, makes sense to them too, but our research will show with our bioavailability studies. But if you have to extract the omega-3 from a fish, and it's not the original source because the fish eats the algae, you probably need more quantity to give the same result. So here we are skipping the fish and we're going right to the algae, so we don't maybe need as much. Okay, number 1. Number 2, we have the synergy, the blend of the others, of the 5, 6, 7, and 9. So most likely at the end of the day, this blend is going to be more potent. Most likely, not proven, just my idea, most likely more effective, more efficient because of this blend, okay? So that's just a little bit of verbiage you might be able to use when people say, wow, a blend. Well, yes, you know what? This is groundbreaking. It's all from plants. What are the plants? The algae is the majority of the 3, okay? The algae is providing, the majority of the oil, okay? And especially the 3. But we have 5 coming from pomegranate. And, I read something today that I wanted to share with you because, it's omega-5 has been known to be the only botanical form of something called linolenic acid, which is the most potent antioxidant known to modern science. We are talking about antioxidants, anti-inflammatories. They're just a different compound. They're not from a fruit and vegetable. They're from an oil, but it still produces these health benefits. We already knew pomegranate was good. All of this pom juice and pomegranate seeds, that's already been established. So we've got the 5 that is being supplied by the pomegranate seed. So that's very, very important. Number 7, omega-7 is coming from the sea buckthorn berry. You heard the story at conference about how special these berries are in the Himalayan mountains, how well they're grown and then harvested. And 7s also are like the next cutting edge of research. So, 3, 5, and 7, we've got this blend, okay? 6 and 9 are along for the ride. They just happened to be there with these other seeds, okay? And so I love that picture that was shown at conference about, and I'm sure you have seen it. I'm just going to pull it up here because it's just so much easier. That showed so the algae oil produces the omega-3, gives us the omega-3s. The pomegranate seed oil, the sea buckthorn berry oil, and the tomato seed oil are all giving us 3s. Okay, so we're getting that from the algae, pomegranate, sea buckthorn, and the tomato seed. The omega-5, pomegranate. Okay, the omega-7, sea buckthorn. The omega-6, along for the ride, everything but the algae. So that's the pomegranate, sea buckthorn, raspberry, tomato, and sunflower. And then the omega-9, just like the 6. So 6 and 9 are very similar, produced by everything but the algae oil. So you want to remember that the 5 is pomegranate, 7 is sea buckthorn. The omega-3s are giving us, the algae is giving us, predominantly the omega-3, but everything else is contributing omega-3 also. All right, so I'm not sure how helpful that has been because I'm sort of just talking through this, but we do want to look at the big picture and understand that people get a little confused on the omega-3s. So I want to do a little quick teaching around the omega-3s because if you understand this, you might be able to answer some of the questions that come up because you've heard of ALA, you've heard of EPA, and you've heard of DHA. Maybe not, okay? Don't worry about it. Just think of short, medium, and tall. If you've read Dr. Sears' books, that helps a little bit, but you don't have to be the expert. But a lot of people out there are experts on omegas. I'm shocked at how much people know. And so there are just 3 sizes of the omega-3s. And the point is that ALA is found in flax and walnuts, but the EPA, DHA, and the ALA, come from algae. But the predominant point here is that, ALA needs to convert to EPA, which converts to DHA. So when we use our algae product or as a source, we're getting the ALA, EPA, and DHA. So the potency, the bioavailability, it's there because it's coming from that original source. If you were to just eat flaxseed and walnuts, the conversion rate, it's really small, like 4 to 10% of the of that ALA is going to come to something that can be used by the body, which is the DHA. And so the bigger question here is that because we have the algae as a source, we have more efficiency, okay? We don't have to worry about that conversion. We have that original source, and the body can use it much easier, okay? Understand that this blend, this synergy is in line with our message of whole food. And number 2, that this algae, not we, but the company is helping to contract to make sure it's grown under our specifications, sort of like a Tower Garden algae. So it's clean, it's pure, it's harvested at the right time. We have control over that growth, the farmers do. And so, how much better could that be? There's no control over those fish. I had actually somebody say, well, the fish that produce the fish oil, they're raised and they don't have contamination. Well, how do you know? So Dr. Du Bois shared on a call about Consumer Reports had done a study that 30% of fish oils were analyzed and that they did have contamination in them, and they did not have on the label what was in the bottle. So doesn't that give you just a little bit of something? 35 sampled of krill and fish oil were found to have 30% disagreement with what was on the label and what was in the container. And they also, some of them were rancid. So ours will be NSF certified, okay? And you know what that means. What's on the label has been tested to reflect what's in the bottle. The reason we don't have that label yet is we have to wait for one full batch, and we haven't had one full batch yet, but it's close, okay? So understand that we are non-GMO, we're kosher certified, and we have just the high integrity of everything that, we are used to with our Juice Plus product. And obviously gluten-free, no artificial colors, flavors, preservatives. And we have this amazing company that is backing us up, that is giving us the materials, the verbiage to be able to share with others. But the last thing we need to be are experts on the omegas in terms of, what is the omega oils for, and what's a double bond, and what's a carbon, and hydrogenated, unsaturated, these are unsaturated. That's why they're good. That's why they're in oil, because they're unsaturated. When you go to saturated or hydrogenated, those are the bad ones. Those are the ones that can cause problems, okay? So as long as we're understanding that we're getting it from the plant and that it is in fact an oil, that we are actually helping, produce good health benefits and supplementing, because our body needs this extra oil because we can't make it on our own, okay? So we have to ingest it, just like we have to ingest fruits and vegetables and berries. Our body doesn't make it, okay? But the body actually needs these oils in order to continue to do other things that are healthy for the body. Another question that comes up, I've had several times, is the clotting issue. Does using the omegas cause you to bleed? Okay. In fact, you are able to use omegas. Tests have been done if you are on cumin and warfarin. And the reason is because, number one, it doesn't, it actually causes the platelets to not be as sticky. It's sort of like an aspirin. So people are on blood thinners. There also might be on a small baby aspirin. Now, if you took 5 times the recommended amount, maybe there could be a problem. But in our case, we are definitely not above any recommended amount, whatever that means, and that's an arbitrary number. But this is from plants, and what we do know for the some words that you can use is something called thromboxane, and that is produced by the platelets. And thromboxane actually causes, let's see here, omegas decrease the tendency. It regulates the thromboxane, which allows platelets to work more optimally, and it actually causes the platelets to not be so sticky, okay? So it does not increase the risk of bleeding, and I think that's just really important to understand and then to feel good about. The omegas just decrease that tendency to form blood clots, but it doesn't cause bleeding. Okay, the platelets just work more optimally and more efficiently. Okay, I've been rambling here for a few minutes, and I probably have way more information than I know where to go with. A few other words, I use the 5 categories, which I think are easy to remember if you're talking to somebody about omegas: heart health, brain health, skin, eyes, and joints. Okay, those are sort of big things. But we also know that it has proven to decrease inflammation. Well, what is inflammation? You know that from our other talks. It's decrease in oxidation. How does that work? It works at the cell level. So these are also a form of phytonutrients that work at the cell level to help with that phytonutrition, to help our cells stay healthier. It also reduces infections, allergies, helps with, blood pressure. There's over 200 conditions that have been proven to benefit from omegas. Not our blend, so there'll be research at this point. Remember the difference. We have over 39 published research on our Juice Plus, but right now we have none on our omega blend. But we do know research has been done on omega-3s, okay? But this is the research that is in process now. They are looking at bioavailability, so they will be looking at those on omegas, those are not, and they will be actually looking to see what's showing up in the blood. They will be doing analysis of the actual lipids to see what is showing up in the blood. After you put that in, what are the fat analysis of the essential fatty acids. So bioavailability, they're going to look at the phytonutrient profile. They're going to also see if being on the trio and taking the omega, if that helps what we call synergy to boost or to improve the function of the trio compared to those not using the omega, okay? So they're feeling that there will be a synergistic effect of adding the omega, that could actually improve the function of the trio, is a question that's being asked. And then, let's see here, and then the effect on lipid metabolism. So, I'm not privy to anything more than that, except for what we know that they are checking, but won't that be exciting? Okay, so in the meantime, talk to somebody that was there when the Orchard and Garden came out in the orange boxes. They had no research. They just said, try it and tell me what happens. Well, luckily, fruits and vegetables have been researched, and at that time, 25 years ago, they were just starting to be researched. Now we have all this research on omegas. And so we can say, well, we have omegas in here. Omegas have been proven. We're bypassing the middle fish, and we have high quality from plant sources. And guess what? You get more than 3. You get 3, 5, and 7, which we already know have really great effects. 6 and 9 are along for the ride, but it's all from the plant. Let me know how you do. All right, I'm going to stop there. I think I've been chattering. So where's my friend Sue? Let me see if there's any questions. And I'll be glad to, there's no questions. All right, somebody start typing, or else somebody ask me something to clarify. Is this what you were hoping for? Is there anything else I can share?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jan Roberto. That was awesome. I love the way that you just clarified the difference between the quality and the quantity, just like you've done with our shakes before, because people get concerned about the quantity of protein in our shakes. And you'd really just helped us understand that. So thank you. And also the synergy, again, how powerful that is. And I love how you helped us learn about the ALA, the EPA, and the DHA, because I've already had questions asked of me of that, and I couldn't answer them. But I think one of the big things, too, is everybody's question is what was the upcoming research that they are doing on it? So I thank you for clarifying for that for us as well. And I know I just loved all your videos over the years. You just really blessed us with all those education. So we're really grateful for you taking the time to personally educate us.
Okay, so I see a couple questions here. So I think
yes, we want to get to a few of the questions.
Yeah. So let's see. Jerry was asking about the ALA conversion to DHA and EPA. It's ALA, EPA, and DHA is the final. What we're getting in our algae is all of them. So the body doesn't have to convert because it's being presented with the DHA, EPA. The conversion happens when you're just bypassing, like, let's say you're vegetarian over the years and you didn't want to do fish and you just said, I'll get my omegas from walnuts and flaxseed. Well, that's ALA. So the conversion is only, 10%, let's say. So what we're getting from this product is we don't have to worry about the conversion because we're getting it in the DHA and the EPA, which the body can use. So hopefully that helps. Okay, great. Just to qualify, you said they can take omegas if they are on Coumadin. Yes. Especially ours. Okay. I did read that if somebody took a fish oil greater than 4 grams, they might need an adjustment on their Coumadin. But as you know, our grams totals like 1.3 grams total. And so at this point in time, I feel very safe. I'm taking double, my husband's taking double. And the only reason we're doing that is obviously we're over 50. My husband's had some heart issues. I totally trust this plant-based product, and so to me, more is better. What is ALA, DHA, and APA? Okay, I'll just say this one more time. If you have a chance to look at Dr. Sears' book, that's second grade level, so it's a good way to explain it. But first of all, the omega-3s are unsaturated Okay, all of these omegas are unsaturated, which makes them good. But the omega-3s in particular are short, medium, and long, okay? The short being the ALA, the medium being EPA, and the longer being DHA. But they're all omega-3s, okay? It's just the way they show up in the different foods. The body doesn't use ALA. It needs to be converted to DHA. And I believe it can use some of the EPA, but DHA is its final form. So there's conversion from ALA to EPA to DHA. And so the idea is that you want more of EPA, DHA, and more of that high quality omega-3. Okay, and so that's why just doing flax and just doing walnuts is probably not enough to really get you what you need, which is why with the algae you're getting all of them. Okay, so you're getting your DHA, EPA. You don't have to worry about that conversion quite like you would if you were not, getting it from that plant. Does that help? I hope so. It's a really great. I mean, if you're interested, it has to do with little carbons and these little double bonds, and the double bonds are at the 3rd space, which is why it's an omega-3, and at a 6, it's at the 6th space, and at a 5, it's at the 5th space, and so that's where it gets its names 3, 5. It's where the double bond is in this carbon chain, and that's why it's unsaturated, because it has the carbon chain, whereas a saturated is just all carbons. And then you put your hydrogen in there, and then it gets all messed up, and that's the trans fats and the hydrogenated fats that are not as good, and they're stiffer. Okay, so these little bonds make it more fluid, and that's why it's so good. So I've never quite said it that way. Hopefully that's clear. Let's see, there's one more question. Our bodies cannot produce 3 and 6, but they can produce 5, 7, and 9 if they have enough 3 and 6. I've never quite heard that. That's a good one. 3 and 6 are called essentials, which is why you have to put them in your body. I'm not so sure about this production of 5, 7, and 9. You might know more about that than I do. I've not read that. But we do not have enough 3 and 6. One clarification, the 6s that you get from the standard diet, your meat and your dairy, are not the same as the 6 that you get from the plants. The 6 that you get from the plants are the right kind. Okay, your body needs 6, but it just needs it from the healthy side. There's 2 parts of 6. So for those people that are getting a little bit tired, there's 2 names or 2 forms of omega-6. There's linoleic acid, which is from seeds, plants. Okay, we're talking about plants. That's the good stuff, linoleic. And there's AA, which is arachidonic acid, which is from meat and dairy. That's the type of 6 that we don't use as well, okay, unless, of course, they are, grass-fed and, free range and all of that. So understand there's 2 kinds of 6s, and people get confused, and they kind of get a little, I don't want to say militant, but you have to know that what we are giving the body through our blend is what it needs. Okay, so feel good. Let's not micromanage this thing. Okay, let's be good with, we need omegas, we don't get enough. Here's a blend. It's groundbreaking. There's 5 different things to, parts that's all working together. And this is a company that's been around for producing whole food nutrition for 25 years. And just give it a try. All right, I think we've gone over.
Yes, we did go a little over. That's okay, but I love that you got the questions answered, and we appreciate that. We're just very grateful for you taking your time to help explain this to us. I know these omegas.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I just grateful for you sharing all this education with us. I know these omegas are going to be launching and just taking off extremely well. So I just thank you for educating us and giving us a little bit of a jump start here. So thank you again. We appreciate you, Dr. Jan Roberto.
Thank you.
Dr. Jan Roberto, there was one more question. Is it okay to take 4 omegas a day?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else have any further questions?
I think we're good. I think
Good.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you taking your time also and jumping on our team call. I appreciated all the great information. That was wonderful.
It was helpful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jan. Great.
Okay, good night.
Thank
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Jan.